Hey guys, it's me, Michael Lenoci. Make sure you check out some of my upcoming shows. Tickets at michaellenoci.com.
I don't think we've ever hung out sober, if this is the most sober we've ever been.
Yeah,
I think
this is
we've only
pretty
seen
sober.
each other when we were really just white clawed up. Just white clawed.
When you were like, you can't have any more to drink.
Oh, when I'm like, hey, you gotta stop, or you might
I was like,
die.
I need a beer, and he
I was
said,
like, no.
You need a water.
It's 7 a.m. Here's water and food. No, I need a beer. This is my impression of you wasted. Oh, I need a beer. And I'm
and
like,
then I
yo.
asked for weed, and you were like, if I give you weed, will you like stop talking?
I think the first time I ever hung out with you, we talked for like 4 hours and just listened to you talk.
I love a good yap sesh.
It was like it was like therapy almost. I was like a therapist for you, and you were telling me about all your demons. I was
Oh
like,
man, I
"Ooh,
thought
this
I
is
was
heavy."
the therapist.
We might have both been the
Yeah.
therapists. We both were therapy for each other on a long night. Carter Cruz here, a DJ and personality. We'll go with personality.
I like that.
Yeah.
People like, what are you? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Just a character in this world. Just someone.
Not like a main character, but like a strong supporting character. You know?
Yeah, you're the neighbor that walks in at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
You're like, hello, I'm sleeping. You're like, you're like,
I'm the Kramer.
You're a 5 a.m. Kramer, though. You're a 5 a.m.
I'm
Kramer.
the Kramer of the afters.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's horrifying.
What all right, so let's get into it. Are you all right, you've never been married, you never longest relationships are not, you're not good at them.
I had a relationship for 8 years, bitch.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm
yeah,
guessing.
what the fuck was that?
I was trying to put you in my world. Like you're clearly not good at it.
Yeah, I know. I had an 8-year relationship. We lived together. We just broke up last year, but we're still friends. We co-parent our cat. You know, it's very adult.
That's a thing right there. Like how long do you have to co-parent an animal through a breakup? Like eventually it fades out. You can't do it forever.
No, we like, you know, we have all the same friends. You know, it's like we want to be friends. Like it didn't work out romantically, but that doesn't mean I don't like fuck with him as a person.
That's true, but like the cat of like, oh, what, he gets it for a month, you get it for a month.
How do you co-parent a cat?
Yeah.
Well, she's got
she's got personality disorders.
She got issues. You know, I got a cat. So I'm like, oh, you can leave them when you travel. And we got like the one cat in the history of cats that has epilepsy, basically. Like, you know,
that's like the worst type of cat for a DJ, by the way.
Oh yeah, you know, she used to need medicine 3 times a day, every 8 hours. You couldn't leave her alone. I can't imagine. Thank God, by the time we broke up, we had weaned her down to. My cat has a neurologist. A cat neurologist. And they were like, we paid for like CT scans of this cat's brain.
Yeah.
And they're like, we've never seen this. We don't know. She was a kitten. She was a baby. And like just started having seizures. And I was like, fucking sick. Of course, I got like, you know. And so she needs medicine every 12 hours. So you can't like leave her alone for like days at a time.
It kind of is great that you are co-parenting.
Yeah, we have to. And also we knew when we got her, it's like, I think we both at the time thought like, this is my forever person, but we're both realistic people. And so we realized like there's a chance that it doesn't work out like that. And we both accept the responsibility of the fact that we're getting an animal, and like we both love her. Like I can't take her all the time, but I don't want to give her up, and he's the same way. So our schedules are like different, you know. On the week he has her most of the time because like that's the house she's like used to, but he's going on a month-long trip, and so I'm gonna take her like, you know, whenever.
Do you just stay at the house then?
Usually I bring the cat to my place, but when he's gone for a month, I'm probably just gonna stay there because they have a pool. And
okay,
shit,
well then here's a good question then. Are you allowed to? Do you sleep when you use his house? Are you using his bed?
I mean, like he wouldn't give a fuck. I don't
He
think.
wouldn't
I mean,
care.
yeah, they have a guest room that I was like living because we lived together. So I like moved into the guest room before I moved out. So, but I think they've kind of turned that room into something else now. So I probably would just like sleep because I lived in that room. It's like all my shit.
It's still
like
your
I
room.
bought that fucking comforter.
Does he have a new girlfriend?
He actually was the first person to start dating someone, but they broke up.
So you
He's
still
single
own
right
that
now,
room in a way.
Yeah, I mean it's like.
Would
a
you
lot
be
of my
okay with
shit.
someone using your place and then knowing that they're going to stay there with their girlfriend? Is that okay? I guess it's not that big of a deal when I say it like that.
I mean, like, I've got that dog sitter girl who stays at our place.
What's her name?
She's a comic.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't, like,
I don't want to
put her
mess
on
with
blast.
comics.
Yeah.
No, also, I was like, oh, maybe I'll stay
But,
over
like,
just so I could sleep in his bed and be like, hey, guess what? I did in your bed.
See, I've never been weird about that. Like, I mean, like, you know, I'm a person who's like, if I stay at your house, like, regardless of what I do in your bed, I'm gonna fucking wash the sheets. I'm a polite person.
Yeah.
So I just don't get, people get like weird about that. They're like, oh, like,
I guess it would be weird if it's a friend. If I have a friend and he's using my place, I guess I'm not weird because I'm changing the sheets or anything like that. But if I had an ex, I don't know the situation. I am an ex using my place and her boyfriend are sleeping in my bed. It adds a layer, and it's more interesting. But it is all.
I don't know if I would
who
even.
cares?
Well, I mean, that was the weird thing is like he knows I'm dating someone, so I was like, he was like, please, like, can you just like stay there? And I was like, are you sure? Because I was thinking,
Yeah.
oh, I'll be back and forth.
Are
Like,
you
I'll
sure?
spend
Because
a
I'm
few-
gonna get nasty.
Yeah, because I was like, you know, like if I'm there for a month, like, but actually, like I was actually like wondering the same thing. But I figured since he said it's cool to like just use the house as yours, I was like, I guess that's okay. But like I generally wouldn't have assume that like if I was there for like a night, I wouldn't be like, oh, like I'm gonna you know
it's
I,
also
like,
easier
I'm-
for the cat anyway.
But I'm like, yeah, but if it's a fucking month, I'm like, well, what do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that I don't know.
There's no way you could go.
I'll like
"Mom."
maybe I'll ask him after we do this. Be like, Mike asked me a good question on the podcast.
Yeah, like, is this
Are
okay?
you cool with this?
Yeah. He's like, actually, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And then you get there and he just moves the bed outside of the room. So it wasn't even about the bed. It was just being in the room.
Well, I think his the guy he owns a house with, like his best friend, like they're both like gonna be gone. So I think it's just like no one's like he was like, oh, your friends can use his room. So I think
Sounds
they're
like
just
a nice house. Is it in the hills? Can I stay there?
it's in the valley. It's really nice. And I think that they have basically 5 outdoor cats that they've kind of like strays that they
Dude, guys with
have
cats is
adopted.
weird.
Um
It's a weird personality.
No,
trait.
I love
think
it.
So. You
Guys
you
with-
can love it, but it's
Guys with
definitely
one cat, totally fine. Guys with 2 cats,
weird.
weird.
How about
Well,
this?
these are strays. Like they don't come inside. They're just like, you know, there was
Are you still feeding
cats
them?
that came around.
They're taking
Yeah, I know.
care
Like
of them,
his
but
like
they don't
his,
think about them. They're just out and about
If
living
that
the
cat
life.
costs you money, it's your cat.
Right.
Sure, but like I'm saying, it sounds like they're outside cats. Like they don't come in the house. They might have fleas. But I also think it is a specific personality in a guy to be like, oh, I have a cat.
See, I actually,
not a popular thing.
I look for that.
You look for that in guys.
I have a
I
theory
feel like
about
that's
it.
not true.
No, 100%. I have a theory about
What's your
it.
theory?
Like any guy, like if a guy, you don't have to like cats. Don't have to be your favorite, but
Sure.
you have to like cats. If you
No.
don't like cats, you're not gonna like me. You're not gonna like dating me because guys who only like dogs, they want their girlfriend to be like a dog. You don't fucking pay attention to it for a week, and you come back, and the dog is like, oh my god. The cat, you fucking feed it every day. You go out of town, you come back, you're like, oh my god, like I want love. The cat's like, I'm doing my own shit right now.
Yeah, that's a little cold. I mean, that's
And
yeah, no
and
shit.
if you can deal with a cat and you can accept that,
then
like,
we could deal with your cold
then you-
heartedness.
it's not
That's
cold.
what it is.
It's like it's also cats revoke consent at any time. They are loving you petting them, and then they're like, stop touching me. I think that if you can't get along with a cat, it's
I was
because
gonna
you
say
don't
my
understand.
dog was raised by a cat. Then
What do you mean? Yeah, that's
Wait,
weird.
yeah,
What do you-
what?
dogs
Yeah.
always
kind of
will
dog?
cuddle.
I got a
They'll always
husky.
cuddle. A dog is down to cuddle all the time.
My dog is not down to cuddle all the time.
That's very bizarre.
He will come and then you'll scratch him, and then he'll be like, "Okay, that was too much. I'm gonna go away."
So but if you walk into your house at any moment and pick him up and go on the couch and cuddle with him, he's gonna participate. He's not gonna be like, no.
Yeah, my
You know what I
cat
mean? Like
will not have
dogs
it.
are always down for a cuddle, no matter what time of the day. Like
See?
it
And
could be
that's-
2
and that's-
a.m.
No, not a husky. He is
Well, that
grumbly.
might be something to do with his parents.
See, I
and
like that.
He's learning from you
I
and
fuck,
your
with,
wife.
I fuck with those kind of dogs.
Which, by the way, to go back, like so yesterday was my anniversary.
Your marriage
with the
anniversary.
wife.
Congratulations.
And
10
she-
years?
8.
Wow.
So we were at dinner last night. She's like, if we ever did get a divorce,
So-
she couldn't even finish divorce and said the dog's mine.
You said
You
that,
have everything else. Don't care.
and she
Take
agreed.
the house.
She was
take
like,
the car.
But and I was like, no, he doesn't even like you like he likes
First of
me.
all, the fact that she's already starting to talk about it Can we just say? Secondly, she was not about the dog in the beginning. She has no say in the
Yeah.
dog.
No say.
No say. She was like, I'm not sure we want a dog. And now she's attached to
Well,
it.
I think
just the
that-
backstory of his.
Yeah.
You know, recently I've had a bunch of like guy friends who have been in like long-term relationships who they ended. I think it's something about being in your like early 30s. People are like a lot of relationships ending, and all of these guys would tell me they're like,
she
"Oh,
thinks I'm in my early 30s.
well, yours isn't ending." And people would say, the guys would be like, "Oh, like yeah, my girlfriend like took my cat," and I'm like,
Good.
if she took the cat, it's because that was her cat. Because I feel like
Yeah.
if you didn't fight for that cat,
You didn't want it.
then you didn't act. That wasn't really your cat. And the thing is, for me, like I love my cat so much, but I also know that I absolutely am her second favorite person. I will take that. I've always accepted that.
Because you're a cat. and
My
cats-
ex is her favorite fucking person, and it's I think it has something to do with gender, like girl cats, like guys.
It's a girl cat.
Yeah, it's a girl
Oh,
cat.
I can't even deal with that.
And so I think, yeah, she, like, I mean, I know she loves him a little bit more than me, and it's okay because she still likes me more than everybody else. So I'll take it.
All right. Well, since we're talking about the ex, this is an issue that people have. I have a friend specifically that has a version of this. I'm friends with my ex. We have a good relationship. She doesn't live in the same state. I talk to her. Sometimes she's in LA. I see her. We grab lunch. It's strictly platonic now. We even talk on the phone sometimes about dating and what
Do
other
you want her
relationships.
back?
No. So we have that relationship. Don't fucking piss me off, dude. I'm just kidding. Don't fucking piss me off, dude.
He's like, no, I don't fucking want
Yeah.
her back.
So
I don't know. This seething
Okay,
anger
geez.
coming
Yeah.
up seems like you want to fight
it's just
for
more
it.
like you're ruining the flow of the
emotion.
podcast, and I'm trying to get something in, trying to set up the bits for the internet so we can go viral. Anyways, this is a topic that offends a lot of people. I've had a friend that was dating a girl who was closer with her ex, right? And that's fine as long as there's communication. But where is it too far or too much or crossing the line? Like I also know if I was started dating someone and I fell in love, I would communicate, hey, I do have a relationship with my ex. We buried my mom together. It's kind of like a bond thing.
Yeah, it's like
She
it's
lives in
almost
a
like
different
family.
She lives in
Yeah.
a different state. Usually if she's visiting, I'll get lunch, but that can be negotiated depending on how you feel. I would communicate that. But some people are hard on how they stand with their exes. If you're dating someone and he's close with his ex, is that an issue?
I mean, it really depends. I think can be a green flag in a lot of times, because if you loved someone
Yeah.
and then things didn't work out, I think just cutting that person out of your life and never having anything to do with them. And I think if you say, oh, all my exes are crazy, like
Yeah.
everything was so toxic, then I'm like, well, we're probably going to be toxic, because
Yeah.
I think that's a problem with you.
100%.
But I do think, and I think the older I get, like when I was younger, like in college, if people were friends with their exes, they were fucking 100%.
100%.
But like, it's like as you get older, it's like you realize like how many people get like divorced or whatever. Like
Yeah.
with my ex, it's like we weren't married, but we were together 8 years. Like, it's like we had a whole life together. We're basically divorced. So it's like we have like a good divorce situation. So I think it really depends on the person. But I do think communication is important. Like me dating a new guy, I feel like, like if I'm like texting like my ex, like I'll be like, and I'm like, hey, we're talking about who's going to take the cat this weekend. Like I try to let him know, like, and if he ever like feels weird about something, I'm like, I really just like validate those feelings. Like I did make it very clear that me being friends with him was non-negotiable, because that's just like an important part of my life.
That came up. So you're in a
Early on, yeah.
You have a new relationship right now, pretty
Mhm.
early on. It's like
I know it's been a minute, but yeah, it's been a minute, but it's just like that took a while to like get through.
Oh, so that was an issue.
Yeah, because I was still living with my ex when we met, so it was like, I was in the
Gotcha.
guest room, but it was like still like a whole thing. So I was like, I get all these feelings, but at the same time, like there is like I would never be pursuing this if there was like any like unanswered feelings, like, and it's just like you have to build that trust, and you just have to be patient with that person for maybe not always understanding.
Yours is a difficult situation because you are co-parenting with a cat.
Exactly.
The ex is single, right? What do you have thoughts about this? Would that
No,
bother
I'm
you?
letting you do your thing.
Would that bother you though?
No.
No. So what if your wife
Mm-hmm.
is like, hey, my ex, hypothetically, obviously this isn't a true, she doesn't have this. She has an ex and she's like, is in town. I'm going to go get lunch with him Saturday by myself.
Be like, here's some money, go get lunch.
Chill. That's why he's been married 8 years. Seriously. It's called trust and respect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've told you, my wife, her relationship with me is like, she's like, all my friends have like, oh, if you're going to Vegas, don't do this, don't do this. She's just like, no hookers, no blow. I know you're not going to do the other things, but like, she knows I'm coming home to her.
So you're saying you could just maybe hit it off with someone and get a hand job? Because that's not a hooker. That is not a hooker. You got to read the fine print.
If you don't pay
for it, it's not a hooker. So you're saying, or is that kind of, shut up, idiot. You know the rules.
You know the rules.
Yeah.
Okay, so then.
She's saying just like, don't be a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But you got to like trust people. But also you guys have been together for a long time. And I understand that trust is earned. So when you're like first in something, I understand that me being like, oh, I'm good friends with my ex is like weird. And I know, like, I hope that, like, and it has gotten better. Like when it first started with a new person, it was like a lot of trust issues. And now we're in a much better place of it. And I hope it just continues to be that way but I understand, like, if you were first dating her and she was like, I'm going to go get lunch with my ex, that would be way different than it being now after 8 years of marriage when you have so much love and trust behind it.
If it was brought up and it was never talked about before, then that's really weird.
I probably wouldn't go get like dinner with him like one-on-one. Lunch, dinner, whatever. I probably wouldn't go and just do something with him one-on-one. We have a lot of the same friends. We end up hanging out together. But, I know that if I did a one-on-one thing, like, my dude probably wouldn't like that. And that's okay. Like, that's fair. Even though I know that there's nothing to worry about, I think that's like a fair boundary to have.
So here's a specific story. I have a friend, not anymore. I'm still friends with. He was dating this girl, and she was very close with an ex. And I'm talking about like the ex was more than 6-7 years ago, right? So enough time has passed. They started dating. 6 months into their dating, there was a trip planned with that ex, a day trip. Like, hey, we're going up the coast. We're going to this place, we're checking it out, and then coming back the next day. That was planned before they were dating, 6 months prior. She has that day trip with an ex. Is that okay? Or is that?
I think that's weird.
That's weird.
I think that's
very weird.
I think that's weird.
I agree.
It's a day trip. You can cancel it.
Yes.
When I started dating my ex, he had planned to go to Coachella.
Yeah.
With a bunch of friends from college, and his ex-girlfriend being one of those people. And that was like, that's Coachella. You bought a ticket, you got a house. That's a lot of money that you put into it. And we had just started dating, and I really didn't like it, but
it bothered you.
I didn't like it, but I also didn't like throw a fit about it because I knew that was incredibly unfair.
And you didn't go.
I told him, like, I feel a little weird about this, and he was really good. He was like, I feel that, and he like called me every night when they got back to the house. He's like, hey. I'm like with my boys, like, it just was very like communicative, like through the weekend. And that was fine. It's like, I understood that was, planned way before we started dating. We'd only really been dating for like 2 months at that time. Yeah. I'm not going to ask you to cancel something like that, but a day trip.
That's
who
weird.
Fucking cares?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Wouldn't. Why would you want to go on that?
Agree. That was a big thing that we would talk about too, and I'd be like, "That's a little weird." And I knowing who the girl was, I talked him off the ledge, and it was like, maybe we give the benefit of the doubt. But to this day, this is a couple of years back, we still talk about like that's not cool, especially if you communicate how, hey, that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's not a thing. Right. That you have to let go of something, right, or keep boundaries of what it is with the ex. But overall, it is okay to be friends with an ex.
Yeah, 100%.
If it's communicate and it's realistic and not crazy.
Yeah, I think you have to like set those like, and you need to like be upfront about that to begin with. Like, if it comes like 5 years into the relationship where you're like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna start hanging out with my ex. But if you tell that person like upfront, like, hey, I have this relationship. I understand that might be weird for you. We can talk about it. I want to be honest with you. Then they know going in what they're getting into, and that's their decision if they want to pursue it or not.
How long is an ex for, though? Like, what if it's over 10 years? Then it's like, oh, is that really an ex?
Like my first ever boyfriend from like high school. Like,
yeah, like if they're hanging out, then
if he came to town and I got lunch with him, would that be weird?
Yeah, like do the rules apply to that? So like how long, statute of limitation?
Well,
hey,
yeah.
we haven't had sex for over 10 years. We are no longer exes.
Right.
That was just a person I one time in the past with. It was never going to happen again. Clearly it hasn't happened for 10 years. Is that now just a friend? And could you still do a day trip with them? Or is that still weird?
I think that's like chill. I mean, as long as you've been consistently friends, if you just like become friends after 10 years.
No.
That's fucking weird.
What if that was the situation? It was 10 years ago. She slept with a guy. They've been friends for 10 years, but they dated.
Did they ever sleep before with each other in between?
No. So is that still weird though? That's the thing. It's still kind of.
How long had it been?
Let's say I think it was someone from like 6-7 years ago.
Oh,
but let's say
so it wasn't like her last ex.
No, it wasn't her last ex. It was an ex from like 6 years ago.
Oh,
they were
okay,
friends for
that's
6 years. They had a planned day trip. They went on the day trip.
It's still
a little weird.
I feel
right?
I don't think it's weird, but I think that a day trip is something that is worth canceling to make your partner feel comfortable.
A new partner feel comfortable.
If you had something that was planned, like, oh, you're going on this, like you spent a lot of money, it's a once in a lifetime, like there's a lot of effort. A day trip feels like one of those things maybe you just like let go for your partner, but I don't think it's necessarily weird.
It's not like a wedding
she
date.
would do it.
It's not like, hey, they're my date for this wedding, and it's a close friend. Blah blah blah. We got separate rooms.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Like where you're like, because I brought my ex on the comedy cruise that I did with Bert. And we already you have to submit people way in advance because it's an international thing.
The cat X.
Yeah, the cat X. I had to so, and when we broke up, he was like, could I still come on the cruise? I'm like, well, yeah, because but it was him and my best guy friend that were coming. And it was originally going to be my guy friend in one room and me and him in the other room. But I just told the guys they had to take the other room. And so I was by myself but we all hung out the whole weekend, the three of us. And but it was just one of those things where it was that was you can't change that last minute that had been planned for so long. But if it was we're just driving up to Napa to do some wine, I'd be okay, we
get
probably
the F out of here.
Yeah, I probably don't need to do that.
Are you open to open relationships, or is that a thing you would do, or no way?
I had one with my ex for a year. I don't know how I feel about it. I do think that probably when that was introduced was probably because we're fading out. And for a minute, it actually did help us. I think that, but then ultimately you're probably gonna find someone who's filling those spaces that, for a while it was oh, okay, this is putting a Band-Aid on the problem. So it was actually making us better. And then after a while it became the thing that kind of took away from us. But I think if you want to be in an open relationship, I think people are scared to do them because they think that the open relationship is what's going to destroy you. But I don't think that's true. I think that if it's going to end, it's going to end one way or another. And I'm actually really grateful that he and I did the open relationship because we'd been together so long. I think it helped us transition to a really good breakup because we had this kind of freedom and separation. You know what I'm saying? I feel I don't think that us being open is what broke us. I think it was probably already going that way, and I think it provided a nice transition where we could do it easily without it being upending our worlds.
How does an open relationship work if you've been in one? Is it you communicate when you are participating in a date or other? I assume open relationship is not an emotional thing. It's strictly for sex.
Right. Well, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not I emotionally want to meet other people's
That's poly. Is that? And that's weird. I don't.
So that's
not to be kink shamey, but I think that shit's so crazy. How do you have fucking energy for that?
So polyamorous is when you don't sleep with other people, but you go on other dates.
No, you
Wait.
can sleep with them. I mean, every
Amory,
relationship.
love, poly,
yeah.
meaning many.
Yeah. So you have
Falling
actually
in love with
intimate
many people.
relationships with people. Yeah.
So
Whereas
you love
open
you love other people. You're like, I love her
Yeah.
and her
You have
and her.
you might have your primary partner,
But there's a
you
primary.
have like secondary.
There's a starter. You have a
Yeah.
starter and a backup and a third string.
And you'll have like other girlfriends, other boyfriends, like people that you like have actual relationships with. That's poly. But with being in an open relationship, it's generally like, okay, you can like sleep with people within a certain whatever the rules are for your relationship. For me, I didn't want to know anything that he was doing. I was like, I don't want to tell you what I'm doing, and I don't want to know what you're doing. I really like to don't ask, don't tell situation. My biggest thing was like, I was like, just don't be stupid about it. Like, don't fuck one of my friends, you know?
Sure.
And we did end up having a situation where someone ended up being kind of close to home. And I like obviously found out about it. And that was the thing. I didn't want to find out.
Why mess it up? You had a good thing, man.
But I know, no, but it was actually good because it forced us to talk. And he was like, I know you don't want to like talk about it too much, but he was like, I would prefer to ask you if it's someone that I think you might, because obviously I know a lot of people. It's hard to avoid people I don't know. You're people I know. Like you're like all of LA. You're like fuck.
she's got quite the number on her. So what are you gonna? I'm just kidding. That's kind of, but still, it seems like there's so many people. Avoid the radius.
Well, she was kind of like a fringe person, and it was after the fact that we started to get closer.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things where I think at the time it felt totally fine. And then it just like over months, she started feeling weird about it. She's like, I'm getting really close with her. And like, but I just hated how I found out. And I was like, yeah, I would prefer in the future if it's anyone that I know. Like I would prefer just like a text before, just so I don't get blindsided.
But the reason you did this was because it was falling apart anyways. And you thought maybe that this would save it.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't feel like it was falling apart at the time. I knew we were like missing something. But I mean, I was still very happy in the relationship. I wouldn't say that I was unhappy. I just knew we were missing something. And I thought like, let's fucking try it. And, you know, I don't know. I'm not like, I don't regret doing it, but that's not what I don't like go into a relationship being like, I want to be open. Like,
no, of course
I'm a very monogamous person. Like if I like, but it's like, you know, we'd been together so long. I was like, is this because I'm not?
Are you?
No, I really am. If I'm like into something, I don't really want to be with other people. Like when I was doing adult, like
were you at, hold on, let's go into that for a second. That one would be, I think, difficult for a lot of men. The cat guy, was he your boyfriend when you were doing adult?
We started dating right at the very end of my career.
Okay. But you never had serious relationships when you were doing it?
I dated one guy right when I was like at the peak of my career.
And how did that work out?
Well, you know, I told him date one, we can't date. Like I fuck with you, but like, you know.
What do you mean we can't date? Why? Because you didn't want to?
You're gonna get jealous, and it's gonna fuck up my career. Yeah, I'm not stupid. I
know.
I know men.
There's no way a man could successfully date a porn star, and
I think they can.
It's very hard. They say they can because they want to be cool, but that's got to be.
I mean, I couldn't deal with it. You know, and I'm
if you dated a porn guy.
Yeah, no,
you couldn't.
It would wear on me, and I knew that it would. You might think it's okay when you first start dating, but once you love that person, and so I just was like, we can't get to that point. And he really was like pushed. Oh no, like I'm cool with it. You know, he was older than me. He's like, oh, I'm so open minded. And then you know, within fucking 5 months of us dating, it was like. The jealousy.
What's the issue though? Like, what do you say? Like, oh, you're going to work again?
Oh yeah. Like, we were just like picking up like, oh,
I need you to fucking, you can't keep, oh, you're always working. Like that's your job.
Yeah. It's so literally my job.
You know that if you met you, it's different if you can't say that you're okay with it and then fall in love and be like, it is a little weird because like it's emotionless sex.
You're allowed to say that you're not okay with it, but you can't punish the other person. You have to say, I'm leaving. Like, because I can't do it. And one of my good friends who I met in porn, big porn star, she is happily married with 2 kids now.
Wow.
But the guy that she's married to now, when they first, it was a tumultuous thing in the beginning. And he actually, I just visited them last year when they had their newborn baby, and I went to go visit them. And one night he and I were talking, and I didn't even remember this conversation. He's like, remember years ago, like, I guess I went in on him because they were fighting all the time, like he was angry at her for, doing, for like doing porn, whatever. He was having jealousy issues. And I told him, I was like, look, you're allowed to feel this way. Like, you're not a bad person for feeling jealous, whatever. But like, you have to understand that she's also a lover, and she hates that she has to put you through this. And she's the one who actually has to go and do it. She's the one who has to fucking fuck that person because that's her fucking job. And you knew that when you met her.
Yeah.
And for you to now punish her, I was like, if you want to get out, no one is going to think you're a bad guy. If you say, I can't handle it, get out.
It's
but don't
easy.
stay and fight with her. Don't punish her. Don't make her feel bad because she's already, because I know from the girl's perspective, she's already going to work being like, I don't want to be here. And it's like, and then you come home and then the guy's like, I'm so mad you went to work. And you're like, it's just like punishment
and
all the time.
It also requires a little bit of acting for women. And it's got to be a little harder if you're like, hey, I now have a guilty conscience.
Oh no, it's so much harder. It makes work miserable. You start going there and you're like, and then if the guy's being a dick about it, even if he's not being a dick, you hate it. But then if he's being a dick, then you like are dreading the punishment you'll get for it. And that's why I told him, I was like, you just got to pick one or the other. And I was like, either you stick it out until she can get out.
Yeah.
Or you shut the fuck up and get out. But you can't keep doing this. And he was like, that like really changed my perspective. And he sucked it up and supported her through it. And now, she does OnlyFans, and she has OnlyFans, but it's like, just with girls or with him, and they're married. They have a fucking beautiful house. They have beautiful kids. They have a nice ass life, and he doesn't have to deal with her going to work and doing that anymore. But,
do you think a lot of women in the adult industry deal with that? Like they can't find successful relationships?
No, 100%. Every single
they
girl.
want to be in relationships. It takes a very particular person to be able
porn
to
girls
that.
Are the biggest lovers. I'll tell you, like all like the girls that you see do the nastiest shit on camera are all the girls who go, I just want like a nice guy to have like boring missionary sex with. Like that's what they want all the time.
Hey. I like to make love. From my experience, they like to make love, I think that's true. But like I think a lot of people on the internet will be like, okay, if that's really what you wanted, then why would you do this? It's like, because you know how much money they're making?
Right. Yeah. I mean, people end up in it for different reasons. Or like when you're young, like for me, it was like, I wanted to experience all these like different things. And it's a safe avenue to experience a lot of things. Like I could go out to a club every night and like meet different people, or you could like go to set, get paid, everyone's tested. There's like consent things in place. It's a safe venue to explore a lot of sexuality that would be kind of dangerous to maybe explore with strangers on your own.
Yeah. Did you ever find yourself meeting someone at the peak of your career and falling for them, but them not liking what you do and then that hurting you like emotionally? You're like, oh man, like I really like this guy.
Traumatic.
Do I think about leaving this just to try to pursue it with this man?
I blew up my career for like not cat guy, but the ex before him.
You did.
I completely obliterated. I didn't leave it, but I started shooting only girl for a while, and it was the peak of my career, and I probably lost me performer of the year because I took a few months of you were
like that. You were there.
Shit. Yeah,
and you're
Bitch.
I don't. Well, I know. To my defense, like some of these guys,
most nominated person 2 years in a row. Like
I didn't know. Well, sorry, for someone like me, I'm so stupid with like I never like I don't follow like there's guys that like follow porn. They're like I know all of them. I'm like I always thought like all right, relax.
Yeah.
Like if I'm watching porn, it's just like Google Pornhub. Cool, that works. I'm vanilla like that. First, people, all my friends.
I can recognize a face or two, but I never knew names, and I was just like, "Oh, I've seen her before."
Right.
There's one.
That's like you always get the weird looks, like in airports. People are like, I'm like, no, it's not me. You'll be like,
I
you
never
look
thought
so.
of it that way.
I get this all the time
Did
in
you
LA.
say I'm a DJ?
People just be like, you look so familiar, and I'm like, you've jerked off to me, but it's so funny because like they don't even know. They have no idea.
Have you ever had fun with that and been like, oh, what do I recognize? And you do this like,
oh, I just always go, I have one of those faces. And the thing that everyone always settles on, it happens all the time. People will be like, oh, you remind me of Miley Cyrus, which I will take that. I don't really see it, but she's cool as shit. She's hot. I love it.
But that's a good out.
And so everyone always goes with that. And the minute, if anyone ever goes like, I'm like, yeah, you jerked off to me. Because it's like, they're like, how do I know you? And I'm like, I just got one of those faces. And they're like, oh, Miley Cyrus. Like, that's what it is. And I'm like, for sure. That's definitely what it is.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I've never, I'm just so like, I didn't know about that industry at all. And then like, to hear like that's where you were, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but then I blew it all up for a fucking man because I am deep down such a fucking little lover.
Well,
and I knew I was like,
you don't regret, do you?
No, I mean like, you know, I don't regret most things in life. I think also too, I didn't want to stay in porn forever. I wanted to do the DJing stuff. And I think I was so comfortable an adult. I was making good money. I was the fucking star. Every time I went on set, everyone was happy to see me. There wasn't much of a challenge anymore. I had tried all the things I wanted to try. And I think I could have gotten really complacent and maybe got like stuck there. And because of his crazy, you know, insecurities and all this shit I was dealing with, I started putting a lot more energy into like making like mixes on SoundCloud. And I had this huge like mix series that blew up on SoundCloud, got millions of plays. And that's like how I launched my career. And so while I'm not grateful to him for that because it came from a bad place from him. But, you know, looking back, it's one of those things where you could say, well, maybe if I had stuck with this, I would have more money. Maybe I'd have like whatever. But also maybe if he hadn't forced me, maybe I wouldn't have, you know, like put that time and energy into this new career that I did want to do. And like, maybe I wouldn't have what I have now. So I try not to like look back on life and go like, oh, like what could have been. I'm just like, well, I'm grateful for how things worked out, you know?
Yeah, it's just funny to picture a guy who's like, no, I'm totally cool with this. It's not bothering me. And then 6 months later be like, it's starting to bother me.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's crazy.
Like,
I mean,
what
he
do
was
you
crazy.
mean? That's like literally, you know what you're walking
I mean, he's like
into.
a really bad person.
That would be like,
I don't know.
let me ask you this.
Hold on, that's beside. Let me get this analogy out. That's literally like signing up for, be like, I'm gonna enlist in the war, into the military, and then they're going like, you got to go shoot and go to the war. Like, what do you mean? I gotta go out into the battlefield? Like, yeah, that's what you signed up for. Why would you not do that? Thank you.
So do you think that he was sitting home like imagining what was going on? Or do you think he was watching?
Oh, he was like looking at the shit.
That's toxic.
It's so toxic. And I know that.
Unless it was an accidental
Jesus
look.
Christ.
I know that because listen, okay, so one time he got me this ring. I loved this ring.
Not an engagement ring.
Oh, no, not an engagement ring, just a ring. And I always took it off for scenes, you know, like, you know, even though I wore it all the time, I always took it off for scenes. One time I just fucking forgot. It was a really tiny, like, it was like this super thin little ring. You know, it was like very
something that had sentimental value for you guys.
Yeah, I love that ring. And you know, it's not like he ever told me to take it off during scenes. I just knew that was like an unspoken thing. Exactly, out of respect. And one time I forgot. And, you know, of course he would say like, oh, my friend sent me this picture, or my friend told me this. But I'm like, you were fucking looking. And I was like, I'm so fucking sorry. Like, I've never forgotten that ever. I did one time. I was flying back from San Francisco. He broke up with me on set. We were having a huge fight. I'm having to shoot this crazy kink stuff. I go to the bathroom. I'm like, hey, can I take 5 minutes? I go to the bathroom. I have like a full-on panic attack. I'm like, like can't breathe. I go back on set. I'm like, no one knew anything was wrong. Like
it's a good actress.
I'm incredibly professional. And I go back out, finish the scene, and then he's like, this is also, I'll say this is the kind of control he had over me, is that I knew this shit was going bad. I was like, this is like crazy. Like, I'm sorry I fucked up. Like, I did fuck up and like I did mess up, and
this wasn't even a rule that you guys came up with.
It wasn't a rule, and I've never, it's not like I did this like a million times. I don't respect you. I'm saying I'm fucking sorry. And he was like, you have to throw the ring away. I never want to see it again. And I was like, please don't make me throw away the ring. I really like it.
You can just put it in a drawer.
But no, exactly. But this is the kind of control he had over me because I thought about that. I was like, I'm just not, because I was like, we're probably going to break up. I knew that deep down. I'll just hide it and then I'll still have it when we're broken up. But I was so scared that he would ever find out that I kept it because he was like, if I ever see that ring again, like, you know, and I was like, what if like, what if he accidentally finds it? Like, you know, I put it in a drawer. I forget that it's there. And then like 2 years from now, he finds the fucking ring. Like,
and then OJ's you.
Yeah. Exactly. I was so scared of that. I tossed that ring.
Oh, you were that scared of him?
In a trash can at the San Francisco airport.
Wow.
Yep. And I think about it all the time. Like, fuck that guy. He's a fucking asshole.
Some guy
but I missed that ring.
Some homeless guy in San Francisco is probably wearing it right now. And he has no idea.
Probably not. It was like in the airport. You know, they just pick that shit up and take it to a fucking dump. It's just sitting somewhere.
Have you ever tried to find that ring again? No. No, I'm saying like online.
It was like his friend like made it. It was like a specially made thing. That's why I liked it so much.
You know what? If I
should go back to
that's
that,
what he told me. He was also like a
you should go back
liar.
to that friend, have him make another one.
Or if I was your boyfriend,
he might have just lied about the whole thing. He just like.
If I was
like his ex-girlfriends and he just gave it to me or something.
If I was your boyfriend, I would be hearing this episode and I would go, I know that would win you over really. That would be romantic. I would go make you a ring similar to what that might have been. Because you could do enough research to find out what that ring is. Or what it looked like.
Yeah.
And then I would make it for you and be like, this is your forever ring for us.
Wait, as a new boyfriend?
Like if I was your new boyfriend, I would make it.
See, I feel like that's weird. That's weird, right?
Oh, really? I thought that would be romantic if I made you and I went behind your back and I go, here, I know that I heard your story on the podcast about how that ring meant a lot for you. So I had it made. That would backfire on me.
So you had to watch a bunch of videos to find what the ring looked like?
There was only one video.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure.
No, but he would have to go find which video.
No, but I'm sure she had it in pictures on her social media from her past or something, wearing it in a picture. And you're saying, wow, look at this mistake I would have made.
This is where he leans over and pulls the ring out.
Romantic like that, and you would have been like, that's weird.
Well, because it is like it's like an abusive like ex gave it to you, and it's like I could personally separate the fact like I liked the ring, so I could like if I still had it now, I would still like the ring. I don't fucking like I don't have to think about him. But to be like it'd be weird to have like someone new give you like the exact replica of something that ring? Like. You know,
it's just all
then that's
weird.
just giving some jewelry.
Well, I guess that's why I'm.
I mean, I wouldn't be
like
mad. I know, I get what you're saying. Like the thought of it is like really sweet.
Yeah,
but
it's okay.
I wouldn't be like, oh my god, you fucking weirdo. Okay, but I would be like, that's an interesting choice.
I was trying to make something so traumatic, so beautiful and romantic in one way. It was a horrible script. Wait. So. What?
That's like the most man thing ever. Trying to make something dramatic beautiful.
Yeah, I was trying to make it beautiful and like, hey,
no,
I know that you've had a horrible time. Wait, so what makes someone like get like how are you? I would think from someone who doesn't know a lot about the adult industry, right? Because I'm a vanilla user. Oh, that video works. Why is someone better than the other? Is it not just as shallow as she's hot?
It depends. Right? It depends on the person.
Or a type, or is it not just the title of things? Because obviously you're not really with your stepdad or a stepbrother.
Yeah, but those are the top ones. About that.
It's like that's
they'll be like, oh, like, and then like they don't even say that in the fucking scene, and you're like, well, what was the point of putting that? You just got me to click on that.
Yeah,
like, fuck you.
Which I don't even think
weird.
I also think it's just like there's a lot of people like me that I'm just clicking the first video. I don't care what the title says.
You have zero taste. That's wild.
Yeah.
You're just like, I just want to see sex.
A little bit. Like, I mean, it's got to like look like a type of.
I'm so picky, you know?
I'm not specifically picky where she needs to be on all fours doing this, blue eyes, blonde hair.
That's weird. That's also weird. Yeah.
It's got to be a look.
I think it depends on the person. I think for some people they're like, I love tits. Some people love ass. You know, some people want a certain like different looks. Okay. They want certain things they like looking at. That's a very man kind of perspective. Yeah. For me as a woman, I don't watch a ton of porn, but you know, every once in a while I just get in the mood. And I'm like, I want to watch something. But for me, like being genuine is really, I can tell when it's like super fucking, fake. And I think a lot of times, like, the stuff that guys will watch, I'm like, that girl is bored as hell, and I'm like, no wonder you guys no wonder so many girls aren't fucking coming, because guys watch porn and they're like, oh, that's how the girl's supposed to look when she's getting fucked. I'm like, that girl hates her life right now, and the fact that you can't tell that. So that's what I want to see. I want to see
actual passion and
whether
love
it's fake or not. I don't care, as long as I believe it. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the best thing when you'd be on porn, when people who shoot this shit every day, they'd be like, they'd be like, was that a real orgasm? They'd be like, actually, wait, don't tell me. I don't want to know. And it's like, that's, if you have people that are so jaded, they can't tell the difference. That's good.
Specifically, is that where the ex would get in trouble and being like, he knows you so well because you guys make love? He goes, you made love with that person.
Well, that's what he would say. He was like, I get that you say it's different, but it looks the same. And I'm like, yeah, it's called being a good fucking actress, you dumbass.
Yeah.
That's like you're watching your fucking girlfriend who's like a movie star, have a love interest in some movie, and you're like, oh, well, the way you looked at him was like the way you look at me. Yeah, because that's why she's an Academy Award winning actress. That's just how it is.
You could just be like, I was thinking about you in that scene. That's why I was able to make it look real. I was pretending that was you.
Method.
I'm a method actor.
No, 1,000%. I used to practice trying to just without even touching myself, just mentally get to a place of being able to experience an orgasm without no stimulation, no being alone. Just get to that place, which is method. It's it's pulling on all those thoughts, bringing up things, and getting that feeling in your body without actually having anything. So it doesn't really matter if it feels good or not. Is it real? Is it not real? I don't really know, because if it's good acting, it is real to you.
Yeah.
That's what makes good acting. If you can pretend to do something, that's not acting. That's pretending.
Yeah.
If you act and you're good at it, you are mentally, emotionally, physically in that space. But that doesn't mean it's actually real life, if that makes sense.
No, I understand what you're saying. A lot of people aren't thinking that deeply about porn.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, this is to get the devil out of me, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm using it to service me and get it off.
Right.
They're not it's not like when you sit down and watch a movie and you're like, oh, I heard this is a good movie, and you're watching it to stimulate your brain and your feelings, right? So your intent is going different, but that's the disconnect of the communication between porn stars and actors of hey, we are actually doing the
exact same
things
shit
that our actors are doing. We're just doing something that's taboo.
Yeah,
that's also
my god, you cried on cue. I came on cue, bitch.
Yeah. Not getting monetized for this episode. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry.
No, but it's fine. But it's just but that's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's it's because people are using a movie for entertainment, and then another one is used to help them get off so they can carry on with their day.
Right.
But
exactly.
one is least not as appreciated as much, but the same tools of acting and emotional acting go into both.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, if it's good. Yeah. Obviously, there's plenty of people who
obviously there's amateur one where it's the girl's wobbling and she can't stay on top of the guy.
I mean, there's even professional people that, you could always tell when you'd work with people, some people are just not sexual, it's you'd be like,
they're just there to collect a paycheck.
Yeah. And it doesn't always, sometimes they're still cool to work with, and they're good at what they do. They can still put on the show, but you can tell, you're we're not really connected.
How has OnlyFans ruined the industry?
I mean,
or helped?
For me, for me, it was the end of my career, because I was out of there, because I don't want to I like to act. I like to perform. I don't want to fucking flirt with fucking people on the internet. That is horrifying to me.
Yeah.
But I think overall it's given girls so many, and guys, given them so many more, so much more freedom, control. I think for sex workers, OnlyFans has been amazing. That whole culture of you decide your own. When I was in the business, you showed up, you did what you were fucking told, you shut your fucking mouth, and you just did it. And you didn't have, if a company blacklisted you, you're fucked. Like that's, now girls can say, I don't want to work with that company. But I can still make money.
Yeah.
They can build, they have so much more control. And so I think overall, like for sex workers, I think it's very positive. For me specifically, the minute that shit started coming in the business, I was like, I'm out, because that's not what I wanted to do, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
It's almost like in a parallel universe with comedians, you had to hope a club booked you, and you had to hope that you got booked on a late night television show to showcase your stand up.
Right.
Social media made it to where you don't need anyone to tell you what to do. You can showcase your talent on your own.
And you can see that as like something that's bad, or you can see it as something that's good. And I think there's probably pros and cons to both.
There's pros.
And I'm not going to, just because it was not good for me doesn't mean that I can't see the benefit for like people, as
it can still be predatory. I literally just had a meeting with a girl.
It can still be what?
Predatory.
How
like,
so?
In comedy?
No, the OnlyFans thing. Because like I just had a meeting with a girl, and she was just like, so if I shoot stuff here, like, will I own it? And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you own it? She's like, oh, there's a lot of other places that are like, we take a percentage of everything that you make. And it's like,
wait,
no.
She wanted to shoot OnlyFans stuff here?
Yeah.
Oh. I got a topic here.
Sure.
I got
That's
a fun
crazy.
one.
You don't have like a fucking house to shoot it in?
Yeah,
well,
she just doesn't have the equipment. Like, also, you're on OnlyFans. You're probably making good money. Go buy
we
this
have
stuff.
we have 10 sets here.
Okay,
do you have friends?
Yeah, it's just hold on. But this is a good question. As a married man, are you allowed to produce an OnlyFans video? Would your wife get annoyed?
No.
Okay, if it's
my wife deals with naked people all day.
Yeah, but she's that's a stylist.
So what?
That's other women. She's not undressing
She
a man's
styles
underwear.
men.
Is she putting underwear on them?
To a certain point.
Big peepee underwear, guys. Yeah, that would affect you. So she wouldn't care if you're like, oh, there's an OnlyFans girl in here going, hey, I'm going to shoot some content where I'm just like using a vibrator.
No, she wouldn't care.
That's her man.
She knows I'm coming home.
What if the OnlyFans girl said, can you like moan for me in the background?
Nah.
You're not allowed to do that.
You're
not allowed to go.
I feel like you wouldn't want to do that. You'd be like, that's against my boundaries.
Yeah, I don't want to.
What? Even like a little like a.
No.
Are you auditioning?
Let me see. Let me see. Come, give me a moan. Not good actor.
Yeah,
you have to have a good.
Yeah, you got to put yourself in the headspace.
Yeah.
That's why I'm behind the camera.
Could you do a good one that you have to do, or if you're like, that's not what I do.
Like a moan.
Like if you have to, like, or sometimes like you're acting like we want you to do this, but you're like, I don't do that.
Oh yeah, sometimes they'd be like, oh, like, so we're gonna need an orgasm in 5 seconds.
And you aren't really.
Yeah, of course not. How the fuck would I come in 5 seconds?
Well, I mean, it depends. But I mean, I think
someone's yelling at you, like, okay, I'm a woman. Like, I need space. I need time.
Isn't that what the guys have to do though?
Yeah, well, that's why they're fucking freaks of nature, because they can do that. That's why when any
Like,
guy says he wants to do porn, I'm like, good fucking luck.
Good luck, yeah.
Wait,
if you can have a guy standing over your shoulder holding a camera, literally touching you, and they go, come right now, and you can do it, you can be a male porn star.
It's
honestly,
impossible.
regardless of dick
No
size,
way.
even if
I was
it's
about to
small.
say, are you telling me like if you're with someone and she's like, come now, you can't just come now?
No way.
Oh, okay, all right.
No,
it's just you.
No. I'm 40 now.
I was gonna say, I was like, he's 40.
I'm 40.
But maybe when you're like 16.
Yeah, well, I'm 40. If anything, if you say
I'm
that,
like,
it's
hey
gonna
man, I've been holding on. You just let me know.
No, not for me anymore. I'm 40. Like if a girl's like, you need to go now, I'm like, you just made it. It's gonna last 10 more minutes now. Now I'm in my head. Now I'm in my head because you want me to do it now, and now I'm worried that I'm not gonna do it now, and it's gonna take longer for me to do it. And now I'm sweating, and now I'm thinking about how much I'm sweating on you, and I'm like, are you into the sweat? I don't know if you're into the sweat, and now I'm in it, and now I'm going soft because now I'm overthinking about a bunch of different things, and that's what happens when you're 40.
Me, I'm like, thank God. Okay.
That's because you're just not overstimulated like the rest of us yet. You'll get there.
How is he not overstimulated? Like,
because
why?
he's
What
just
do you
been with
mean
one
yet?
partner for 15 years.
That's good though. I feel like that's all you can always tell when guys watch too much porn, and they like.
Do you think you're overstimulated?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know, like.
Or is it pretty easy for you to get off?
No, I mean, if it's like, it's pretty easy. If I'm like in the like, I feel like there's certain times where I'd be like, oh, like I'm having a day. I have like a lot of things going through my mind. Like maybe it's gonna take like longer for me to. But then other times it could be like really, really fast.
Just need a passionate guy like myself. I'm a love maker, guys.
You're like the whole reason you have this podcast is for him to just like plug himself to like future wives.
Hey guys, I'm looking for a wife. I would like to settle down and get married. You're allowed
Like
to
and
have
subscribe.
kids. You can, hey, like and subscribe. I don't care
5
if you have kids. You
stars.
can be divorced with kids.
That's me, not the podcast.
Like and
5
subscribe, and if
stars.
you're feeling really generous,
open
you
to
can
that.
suck my dick.
Okay. I got a thing, and this probably doesn't. You wouldn't care about this, but this is a question
I
that.
can see it from the other side.
Yes, a lot of guys will get this question. I've gotten it quite a few times. It's a very frustrating and hard question to answer, and it puts you in a spot of like, well, is there any right answer? A girl will ask, you'll run into a girl and she'll be like, when is the last time you had sex? It's a very difficult question to answer.
I think that's
If you
weird
ask
to
a guy?
someone.
What of a girl asks? You're on a date, you're getting to know a girl, you're dating a girl, and she goes, "When's the last time you had sex?"
That's weird.
You think it's a weird
I
question?
think
to
it's
ask?
a weird question.
You think it's inappropriate to ask that?
Yeah.
What if you guys are talking about sexual experiences and you're at a point where you're like just talking about what you like, and maybe you have an open communication about what you're interested in a sexual partner, and then that is brought up. Is that
Right.
excuse that question?
No, yeah, I guess there's like a conversation where it feels like natural that it would just come up if you're like being open about
But you
stuff.
still think it's like, come on, why are you doing that? to
I think
someone?
it's like I think it's like kind of aggressive. I think, if you're concerned about like their status of whether they're like safe to fuck, then like you ask like, when's the last time you got tested? And you're like, then I think that's what you start with. And if that's what you're trying to get to like sexual health stuff, but I think just saying like, when's the last time you had sex? I feel like it's really putting someone on a spot about
100%.
something that's like kind of like not your fucking business. That's what I would think. If someone asked me like, when's the last time you had sex? Like, and we just started hanging out, I would just be like, I'm like,
yeah.
what?
Why do you want to ruin what's working so far?
Yeah, like what if
Because
it
the
was fucking
truth-
last
yeah.
night and we just met? Like I didn't know I was gonna meet you today. Like, that's weird. I don't want to tell you. Oh yeah, 12 hours ago I fucked someone else. Like that's weird as fuck for me to say. It's really truly none of their fucking business.
I agree. So that's a red flag if somebody asks you that. If a
Yeah,
girl's asking a guy that, I would never ask a girl that.
Right.
I might jokingly with humor go, "What's your body count?" But that's a joke, and I also wouldn't
It's
care.
like a joke, but you're also like,
I also don't care.
kind of want to
Totally
know.
I also
yeah.
wouldn't care. I'm not going to be a discriminative towards that anymore. Maybe when you were 23, I wouldn't care. I mean, if a girl's like, if there's not a number that could.
Well, back when you were 23,
Back when I was 23, it would be.
it would
it would affect me. Yes.
That was like what, the
If
80s?
yeah. Well, yeah.
Back
I
when you
mean,
developed film.
Yeah. Oh, dude. When I was 23, if I was 23 and a girl
They
was
were
like,
just getting porn on the internet.
yeah. Oh, I mean, my first,
He jacked off and got paper cuts.
my first JOing experience. Let's go JOing. My first JOing experience is Brooke Burke Wild on E, or hoping that Real Sex on HBO had a good episode and it wasn't a weird episode with a bunch of old ladies riding horses. I don't know if you guys remember that. You might be a little too young for that.
remember that.
Do you remember Real
Oh,
Sex?
I didn't have a TV growing up, so.
Oh, that explains everything. She was
really
poor.
does.
She was from. She's
Don't
Haley
judge me.
Mathers right now. Let her get her thing. She's addicted to these.
Hey, I quit vaping, so I feel like I should get like, kind
You
of
get
like
some of
a.
that. All right, let's wrap up here. What are we at right now? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, time flew. All right, marriage is open goal. We don't need that with her. Meeting family, big deal. No. Yeah, I don't know. What do you have any questions for me? Obviously, you think I'm someone you would settle down with.
I mean, you do love your plants, so.
That's a new thing. You never saw that. I started doing the plant thing.
You're taking
know-
care of plants?
Yeah,
I
I
recently
I
bought-
sent him a little app because
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh my god, how do I take care of this plant?" And I like literally right after I saw that story, I got fed an app that was like,
Oh, I did see
it was
that.
like, oh,
Are you a
identify a
plant
plant.
That made me laugh.
I mean, I would love to be, but like, I mean, I travel too much. You're the same way.
Same way. But I went to
I
the
have a
place and
couple,
I go,
you know?
are these plants like can they go a
Pothos.
week? Can they
That's
go
what I
a
always
week
get.
without water? You know?
You get a pothos. I got one for my, like, in the house I used to live in, my guy roommate, his bathroom was kind of the guest bathroom. And it was just like fugly as shit in there. So it was like, I like redid his bathroom because that's like what people would use.
Yeah.
And I put a pothos in there and I completely forgot about it. And I never used that bathroom. So I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I realized like 2 months later that it barely gets any sun in there. I haven't watered the thing. He surely hasn't watered it. I go in there like, oh my God, this plant, I'm expecting to find just dust.
Dust.
And it's like, I mean, it's struggling a little bit, but I put some water in it the next day. That thing is fucking good.
Thanks for paying attention to me.
Yeah.
What is it called?
A pothos. Yeah.
A pothos. I'm going to get one.
Yeah. That's like the main plant that I always buy because they really like, they will grow faster if you take care of them. But if you just you could forget about it for 2-3 months, it's still going to be alive.
I got to do that because I bought like 3 plants and I bought 5. 2 have died so far. But the other 3,
do you want kids or are the plants?
I'm open
like
to
a
kids.
surrogate?
I'm not a kid. Kids can happen.
He wants kids.
It depends what happens though. Like I'm like
I feel like he's been posting a lot of kids on his stories.
Well,
like,
I was back in Florida.
Shit,
I was back in Florida.
He wants kids.
He's trying to put out like a little radar to all the ladies. He's like, "Hey guys, I like kids."
Listen, if I meet someone and like, let's say, for instance, I went on a date with a girl recently and she's divorced with 2 kids. She doesn't want kids. If I fell in love with her, then that's what it is.
Right.
Is this the one you doxed on the podcast?
What's that mean?
No, I'm kidding.
Doxed on the podcast?
Like you like put her information out there?
I
exposed her?
No, that was a few episodes. No, there was.
Who did you dox?
There was an episode where a few months ago, I had an episode recapping one of my 40ths, and I forgot to edit out a bunch of stuff, and I said some vivid details about someone, which I'll tell you after the podcast. And I left some details in, and I got a text from them, as if they were gonna find out. It was just
That's so fun. Yeah, like no one else would know, just they knew.
Only they probably knew, but they were probably a little bit paranoid because of what their situation was.
Oh, right. They're like, oh, someone's gonna find out. One of my like guy friends, like he had a date with Nikki Glazer, and she the next day went on a podcast and just told a whole story about him. And
it was here?
She was here yesterday.
No, this is a while ago. And so when I was like on the like Burt tour with her, he was like, no fucking way, like look at this like episode. And it was so funny because I was like, I hit her up and I was like, I'm with this guy who talked on the podcast, but he wouldn't have seen it, but it wasn't so identifying that like anyone would know, but just like one of like his close friends happened to see it and was like, this sounds like him.
No, I don't see. I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to bring up specific dates I've been in. This was just a story, which I'll tell you afterwards. But like, I'm not going to talk about specific dates, but I will. If I'm a friend with someone and we've dated or something, we'll talk about it on the podcast between ourselves. Right. So being like, oh, why do you think it wouldn't work out? Do you think I'm compatible for you? Do you think like, what do you think it is? Or just knowing about compatibility and what, because we know each other well, and you're like, what would be good, what wouldn't, you know what I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, that's
the only way. I mean, for these like there was a girl I was texting with, and she was in Miami, and this is a few months back, and I was having fun with it. I was like giving her a hard time, kind of poking the bear, and it was like crazy what I was saying. I would like say annoying things that would make any girl go, you know what, I'm done. And I was like, this is really funny. I would love to like share these texts and post it. Like I think it would be very funny. She's like, please don't. So I'm not gonna. I have to wait like 6 or 7 months. I have to wait a long time.
I mean, I'm going to,
but I have to wait, and it's still only been 6 months. I have to wait longer because she still follows me, but like I don't want to hurt her feelings. But also,
create
no
a
one
new
would
channel and animate it.
Nobody would ever know it was her. Nobody would ever know it was her.
Also, her feelings are stupid.
But also, but nobody would know it was her, and it has nothing specific. It's also me. It's funny the way I'm texting is insane. Like the things I was saying, like just
were
silly.
You so funny?
Yeah, I was just being funny and saying things like, maybe you'll actually feel better because just long-winded, silly things. Nothing like inappropriate or gross. Like something that you could actually post on social media. But she was just like, I think in the moment she was just mad because she was getting frustrated. Like, why do you keep trying to make me angry? Like it was like stuff like that.
Right.
So it was like funny.
Have you met Michael?
Yeah. But that's that.
You're just like poking the bear.
Do you have any questions or anything you would want to talk about? Or I mean, I feel like we're thankful for your time already.
I mean, I'm chilling.
Miss DJ.
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly just keep looking at that Carrots bag. It's like
No idea what that is.
I don't either. I've been really wondering.
It's a dab rig in there.
Oh, it's a dab rig.
What the hell is that?
It gets you high as fuck.
Oh, Jesus, guys. You got to slow down with the pots.
Hey, man, we got rid of all that shit.
Smoking weed.
You quit smoking weed?
I mean, like, so I quit
Okay.
for like, I quit for like 2 months, and then I did like a day. I had, and then I like didn't smoke for a couple weeks. So every once in a while. But I used to be an every night smoker, and I did cold turkey for 2 months, and now I'm like doing it as like a once in a while.
Are you traveling a
type
lot
thing.
right now for work, TJ?
No, I'm not doing shit. I've been
You're just
chilling.
gonna chill.
I'm like being wholesome. I'm like cooking dinner.
You're trying to
Like
be a
I'm
mom.
buying groceries.
You're trying to be a mom.
Honestly, I'm like a housewife, like just stuck in a party girl's body.
Man, the one that got away.
I'm just trying to, I'm really just trying to chill. That's like my
Do you want to get married and have kids?
dream. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the kids.
Do you want to start a pact now that in 10 years,
How about this? If we're both not married,
you two get together?
If I'm 50, would that be too old for you in 10 years?
Well, I would be too old.
Well,
because
then we won't have kids.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
No,
so
they've got miracles of science.
I'm actually gonna go and get like my
Eggs
fertility and shit tested because I don't even know if I can have kids.
Have you ever had a scare?
No, I've never had a scare.
Me either.
And I've never had a scare. And
We've
my
said
mom,
this. It's probably you.
Sure.
It might be you, but like my mom had a really hard time getting like pregnant with me. Like they were trying to adopt a kid.
Are you on birth? You're not on.
I have an
birth
IUD, yeah. So now I'm good. But like when I was on the pill, like back in high school, like I was really bad about taking the pill. Like the fact that they expected me to take a pill every day at the same time. Wild. I mean, I would just skip that shit for 3 days sometimes, and I never had any scares. So
she didn't get good at taking pills every day until she got to LA.
Yeah. But that's like for a specific, you're like, oh, I'm gonna immediately get the benefit. But I think but I was like, I don't even. But only recently have I been thinking like, I don't know, like maybe I've always been super anti-kids. I never thought I could have them, never wanted them, but. It's not, and this is like the unfortunate part about being a woman and like being in your 30s is that, my mom always told me, she's like, one day you're going to like want them. And I was like, fuck you, that will never happen to me. I'm independent and I'm crazy. I don't need any of that like traditional shit. But I think at a certain point, it's not necessarily that I'm like, oh, I want them. It's more that I'm realizing that my time to decide is running out. So I'm just realizing it is something I have to think about, but I would rather just go and get tested, figure out where
if
my
that's
body's
even a possibility.
at. Right. If they're like, oh, it's going to be so hard for you to get pregnant. Then I'm like, I don't want them enough to try and do like IVF and all this stuff. But if they're like, you're completely good and it would be really easy for me to have a kid and I could have a healthy pregnancy, then maybe that is something I might value and put forward. But right now I don't even know where I'm at. So it's just something I like, and probably in the last like year and a half that I've been like, kind of, it's in the back of my mind, just because I think you start realizing like I've done everything in life, right? Like
we think we don't know what more will we want when we're older.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I've done all the crazy stuff. Like I have been on so many benders. I've been to all the clubs. I've done all the drugs.
I've seen her on these benders.
After a while, it's like that stuff becomes mundane.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're on a, if you've done drugs with the same people for 10 years, I mean, are you really being exciting or are you being fucking boring? And I'm like, what would be really fucking crazy? Making a person. That's fucking crazy. That's actually batshit unhinged. Like maybe that is the next crazy fucking thing to do. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's crazy to have to, you got to change your life.
Yeah, it's crazy that you don't have to think about that. It's so unfair. I wish I was a fucking man. You can be like 70 and be like, I kind of want kids now.
You kind of are. You're close to a man.
But my body's not.
No, your body's not. Mentally, for sure.
Mentally a man. Unfortunately, my body is like, no, you got to choose like now. I mean, not like right this second, but you got to make a decision.
Well, you're still young.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm 10 years.
Yeah, I got time.
30 if you don't have to tell.
Yeah. I mean, you can look it up on Wikipedia, but
yeah. I mean, I have a friend they had their second kid. She was 42.
Yeah, but there's a lot more complications.
Someone that just had their kid at 50.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Now that's crazy because you could die.
Yeah, it's the complications. I know you can, but I don't know if I want to like Also, I want my body to recover. Like, I want to go back to being hot.
You're fun.
You
You'll be
know?
hot. You
I
got a
feel like I
nice.
could.
You got a tiny body.
I feel like I
You'll
could.
be
I feel like
fine.
I could rock
You're not
it.
someone who's gonna get.
Honestly,
big.
I think having a baby might make me hotter because it would like make my hips a little wider. I got kind of like a straight down
Carter
body.
Cruz pregnant videos. Think about that. Think about how much money you would make.
Oh my god, that's disgusting. I would never do that. Would not I mean, no hate
That's
to anyone
the
who
thumbnail.
does that.
Cruz
but
pregnant videos.
That's horrifying.
I know. I would never.
That's your thumbnail.
Yeah.
You're like using your fucking unborn child to
Actually,
like create porn.
I was gonna say that would do numbers.
That's
That's
Oh
your
my God.
that's your clickbait title.
That's effed
Oh
up.
god.
Well, if I
Alright.
ever get like pregnant out of wedlock, at least I have options.
All right, that was Carter Cruz. Thank you guys for watching. Check out tour dates. Thank you for doing this and participating. Appreciate
Thank you for
it.
having me.
Always a fun person. Once I met you, I was like, oh, you're a cool person.
I
hope
love
know
to yap with
forever.
you.
Yeah. We'll let you go home and sleep, you little grandpa.
Sleep.
Yeah,
You're gonna
he's
go
tired. He
sleep?
works
No,
all day.
I got way more.
Oh wow,
work
you're
to
not
do.
you're not gonna make it. See you
Yeah,
guys.
you got work to do with your wife.
Yeah. I mean, at one point you fell asleep.